What's up, guys? I've had some interest in going over GGG's mechanics, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to look at the jab, I'm going to look at his right hand, and I'm going to look at a hook. I'm going to show you some little nuances of what he's doing to generate the type of power that he generates. He's using a lot of his kinetic chains very well. I'm going to show you exactly how. So first, let's look at this punch, and this is coming in the first round in his fight against Matthew Macklin, and it's just a simple jab. We'll take a look at it in full speed, and then I'll take a look at it in slow-mo. Okay, actually, before I get into this, let me say something. So I've had some comments saying that, not every punch needs to be a power punch, and that's 100% true. Obviously, right? Not every punch is going to be a power punch. That being said, if you're following the type of mechanics that I show on my channel, it can apply to almost every punch. Now, you can modulate the amount of power that you're using or that you're delivering through follow-up and through weight transfer. However, you can use these same mechanics like on the double end bag when you're hitting mitts at different speeds. The more follow through you use, of course, that can potentially put you at more risk because you're manipulating your weight. And if you've overcommitted and you're now vulnerable, that can put you in a dangerous position. You can still use these mechanics to increase your speed and to maintain good balance, which is a topic for another video. However, one thing that Max Kellerman says in some of these highlights that I selected is that GGG's balance is very, very good. He's always on balance to be able to throw another shot. And that is part and parcel of having good punch mechanics. Naturally, you can overcommit. Every punch doesn't have to be a power punch. You can be very quick with these same mechanics, like I mentioned, and practice them on the double end bag, which is faster, naturally, than you working power against a heavy bag. Every punch does not have to be a power punch. Just like this first jab, despite being very good mechanics, it's early in a fight where you're usually not going to see a lot of people use power punches unless they're fighting someone incredibly overmatched where they know already they have a huge psychological advantage, a huge physical advantage, a huge skill advantage. So let's look at this. And remember what I talked about as far as the pelvis goes in the Canelo video. It's moving in two planes of motion, back to front and then rotational component. And we'll see both of these at play with GGG's jab right here that landed quite well against Matt Macklin. So let's look at it again. His muscles are loaded up. He's got weight on the back foot. And you see him pick up his foot to step with. Now, in my other video, you're stepping with the jab because of the weight transfer, and you need to now catch yourself so you can reset and bring your pelvis back. So he's going to push off of the back foot here, using his kinetic chains to rotate his pelvis and to move it from back to front. You see it flicking backwards and then from back to front, and then he lands. So a good example here. And then Matt Macklin, his right hand misses. So we'll watch that again. We'll watch it again in full speed, and then we'll watch it again in slow-mo. All right, here it is again in slow-mo. All right, so he's moving a lot of weight there. However, he's catching his weight with his front foot, which is going to allow him to reset. He's transferring a bit of weight here, so he's putting some power behind this jab. However, when he lands on his front foot, remember, you step when you punch not to be like some dude marching in place. You're stepping when you punch to get you used to transferring your weight, landing on your front foot, and then being able to push yourself back, flick your hips back to be ready for another punch and to stay on balance. All right, let's watch this right hand that he sets up right here. All right, let's bring it back. Okay, so he's going to jab here. and his weight's going to come down. Now, you see him start to extend his right leg, putting some pressure on his right foot to push his pelvis into rotation. The right hip is coming forward. The torso's coming with it, creating torque and acceleration. The hip finishes its movement. The arm is accelerating relative to the hip, comes over the top, hits Macklin's glove, but it does get through an off-balance Macklin. And that's the right hand. Let's watch it one more time. Jab. Pushing off of the right foot. He's not just pivoting, he's pushing off because you can see the knee extend. So he's pushing off, pushing his hips into rotation, creating torque and acceleration. The hip has reached the end point. The arm is still coming. It hits. He's following through, and then he resets because his weight is transferred to his lead foot. He resets and brings it back. Okay, we're going to watch this right hand from GGG. Now, this is a lead right. Notice how his pelvis is going to move forward. We can't see his feet right now, but he was pushing off of his foot, creating rotation in the pelvis, which is going to create torque and acceleration through his crossbody kinetic chains, into his arm, and then into and through his opponent. Now let's watch it once in the slow-mo, and then I'll back it up, and we'll watch it frame by frame. If you want a decent idea of how you can do this yourself, my straight right video goes over it in pretty good detail. Okay. So he's beginning right now, and you're going to see his hips start to rotate. The right hip is going to come forward, and the hip is going to end its motion right around here. And the arm is going to accelerate relative to his pelvis. And you're going to see him make contact here. Right, next frame, right there. Now notice his torso and his arm. This is going to be a great example of follow through and weight transfer. His torso is going to move forward with his arm. So he's transferring his weight through his opponent. So notice he's going to continue going forward with his torso and his arm. And all those muscles, the crossbody kinetic chains at this point, are being utilized to stabilize that weight transfer. And that's how he's able to land with such a concussive power, such a concussive force. So he's still moving there. His torso and his arm are moving through. But his hip is already done. His hip has already completed its motion long ago. And this was a devastating shot. And you can see how Macklin reels backwards after that. So good example of a lead right, using all the kinetic chains and all the principles that I've mentioned in other videos. In this clip, we're going to look at a good 1-2 and then a hook afterwards. So Macklin's going to back himself up against the turnbuckle, and we're going to see a good jab and then a right hand and then a hook afterwards. And then another few shots. So these are good. We'll go over this in slow-mo. All right, here it is in slow motion, and then we'll do it frame by frame. All right, here it comes. So you can see GGG's weight is on his back foot, and he's going to push it forward. Okay, glancing, that doesn't really land that well. Oh, he's going to jab again. So watch him push off of his back foot and step with his left, right? You're not just marching in place when you're stepping when you punch. You're stepping when you punch to help you reset after you transfer your weight. So a little, doesn't really land, but it gets in his face, and it's setting up his right hand now. Look at him push off his toe, push his right hip into rotation, arms coming out. The hip has reached the end of the hip rotation. The arm is still coming. It lands here. And that was a big impact. And here's a couple more. And another hook to the body. Let's back it up. And we'll watch it again. Jab, big right hand, and then a hook. GGG lands the hook with his palm down. Obviously, that's the way he's been taught because he does that pretty regularly. I think you're going to be recruiting more muscles when you land with your palm facing you, as I go over in my hook videos. However, there's a time and a place for everything, and overall, GGG has excellent mechanics. Okay, so his hip's already coming forward off that left foot, and you can see how the arm is following the hip, and it lands. Good. That's what was available to him, and he takes good advantage of it. Here's another right hand. Look at the hips. Now the weight has gone to his front foot, and look at that arm continue moving after he makes contact. He's going to set his left foot here, and he's going to use his glute to power hip rotation. His hip's going to stop moving right around here. His arm's going to continue with all that weight and momentum from his crossbody chains. And he's going to finish it up with a jab. Okay, now we're going to look at the mechanics that finish the fight. It's a left hook, and the mechanics are very, very good. We'll watch it in full speed, we'll watch it slowed down, and then we'll watch it frame by frame. There's full speed. Let's watch it one more time, full speed. Now let's watch it in slow-mo. You can really see the acceleration here. All right, now we'll watch it frame by frame. So GGG has his weight on his lead foot, and he's going to push off of a flat foot to power his hips into rotation. And you can see that start now. That hip is turning. His hip has almost reached the end point right here. But remember, what the hips are doing, they're creating torque and acceleration into the crossbody kinetic chains where every joint accelerates until you hit your target, until you make impact. Let's watch it again. Pushing off of a flat foot, powering his hips into rotation. That rotation creates torque and acceleration in his crossbody kinetic chains. Accelerating all of his joints faster and faster and faster until he makes impact. And all that power from the rotating torso is culminating with that hook. Culminating with the impact. Here's the slow-mo replay from the broadcast. Here comes the, right there. Big shot. Notice the hips move first. They're not moving in lockstep. Okay, the hips are not reaching the end range at the same time the arm lands. And here's one final look at it. Right behind the arm, right on the liver. Game over. All right, guys. Hopefully this was useful to you. If you haven't checked out the full fight commentary of Canelo versus GGG, you should check it out. I made some timestamps in there to highlight some very clever techniques or tactics that they were using against each other called following and complementing, which are pretty much what Floyd uses, like his go-to, the things he looks for and the things he does in a fight all the time. And it's good to know them. You can actually practice them with your trainer if you're doing mitts or if you're just working with a partner in the gym. Watch that. Look at the following and the complementing timestamps that I have laid down. If you want to learn how you can use your kinetic chains more effectively to improve your mechanics, land with more power, punch with more speed, check out my program called the Power Punching Blueprint, available at howtopunchharder.com. That's it for now. Stay tuned. The next video I'm going to do is about Artur Beterbiev. You guys have been requesting that. So I'm going to show you how he generates his power, almost looking like he's not putting any effort into it at all. Stay tuned for that one. That'll be up in a couple days. Anyway, talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. See you in the next video. Bye.